My never I say ma PENDREAM TV. PENDREAM TV there. I see them yopo.
You are most welcome to PENDREAM TV, the only channel that brings you the best and latest updates in politics. If you are new here, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell for more updates. Like and also share for other new members to watch as well. Thank you. You can also leave a comment after watching or send us a voice note on our WhatsApp number, which is 0277128777. Thank you. Joyce Bawa, a special aide to Mahama, has also come out bashing Bawumia front and back, saying all the things he said is visionless, and he will be remembered for that as a vice president with legacy of lies and inconsistency. She also said if what Bawumia really said is a vision, he should let the media grant him an interview for interrogation. He also bashed Nanado for his new reshuffling, saying what he did won't change anything, but it's just a thief one go, thief one come. Is what he is doing. Without much ado, I would like you to join me listening to what she said into detail. Thank you.
Oktari, former deputy minister for transport and affairs, presidential special aide to His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, and a guest and nano pay. Would you media so medical catcho and it's what you would be a new and the idea to him. His Excellency John Mahama didn't the to him, and affairs so a year Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. Also, now I was a bold vision power and or the atrium. Yet the thing in better, yet the better to own your on my Ghana, where you come to Chimo. Honorable, you're watching Wakwaba. Good to see you.
Likewise, very good morning to you. Great to be back.
Yes, and happy
twice in a month.
Twice in a month. We have quite a thrice. Oh, come on, I like that. But happy Vows Day also.
Oh, I'm power. Hey, true.
Say,
oh, but at least I was reminded.
In the morning.
Yeah. We thank God. At least we are alive, and happy Valentine's to everybody. Especially those who are celebrating their birthdays today, and of course, it's a testament to love and resilience. So hopefully, all who are on the journey of love, let's wish them well.
Sure.
For those who are starting, we wish them well. Those in the middle, same, and of course, all of us. And greetings to our bosses, Mr. Julius Debra,
more fire.
John Dramani Mahama,
more fire.
The man of the moment.
Yes.
Our future, our past, and our present. And of course, his beautiful wife, Madame Lodina Mahama.
Yeah.
So certainly to all of our friends and loved ones, everybody in Ghana, wish them very, very well. And I hope that Mr. Mahama is ready and poised for action. 10 months to the election. And I like something Dr. Mani Boama is doing. Every day he gives us the number of days to the next election.
And we realize that the days are moving really very fast.
I mean, in under 10 months, Ghanaians will be going to the polls. Yes. Let's hope and pray that they will elect a man who stands for the people, a man who loves Ghana, a man whose words we can trust, above all, a leader whom you can have access. That's also very important. And this, remember, one thing that actually resonates with me, one who would see something on Monday and stick with it on Friday. You understand? Even if you wake up in the morning, you know that, oh, yesterday Mr. Mahama said this. Friday morning, I don't think he would say something different.
All right.
We should pray for consistent leaders. Leaders who are certain about what exactly they want to do and who take responsibility. Look, one of the biggest things about leadership is that you ought to learn to take responsibility. It's very, very important.
Yeah. And we'll come into the specifics, but in as much as you mentioned this, has it become much clearer to us now? I mean, say, has it become clearer in terms of who will best lead this country? Because we've already heard the various candidates, at least throughout their vision and what they stand for. When you analyze them, has it become clearer to Ghanaians where they feel or where they can align themselves to?
Well, I think that the difference has always been very, very clear. We share Mr. Mahama. You can tell he looks very self-assured. He looks very confident. He's very comfortable in the promises that he makes. And he's also very knowledgeable about the things he speaks about. Then there's something that we forget. He speaks to the heart of the common man, the jobless man, the hungry man, the sick man, the man who is currently going through hardships, the man who is imagining what 13 cedis to the dollar will look like in the next few months. The man who is trying to clear his cargo presently.
Yeah.
And he's struggling to find enough money, not just to pay for the duty, but to pay for all the additional taxes, including the most useless ones, like the COVID levy, that nobody understands. And now we are looking at what? An emissions levy.
Yes.
The E-levy.
Yeah.
And then, of course,
the VAT on electricity.
15%, not 2%, not 3%, not 4%, 15%. Look at what that looks like. For the first time, I followed the debate on what the appliances you use in the house and how much electricity they consume. These are conversations that we never used to think about. For the first time, people are looking at the cost of solar and solar panels and how they can even separate their gadgets. That in the daytime, you can depend on your solar and then later. And then, of course, yesterday, we woke up to the sad news about how this hopeless administration expended $12 million on a Japan. Can you begin to imagine what that looks like?
So that should make it clearer.
Very, very clear.
As to what we can align ourselves to.
Very clear. Look at even our most damning corruption stories in the 8-year Mills Mahama period. Compare it to what we have. But you know what is funny? The leaders of today, President Akufo-Addo and Dr. Bawumia, tell us that it is within their right to continue to deceive us, continue to tell us lies. That don't worry about your hunger, your hardship, your inability to find a roof over your head. Allow us to continue to run roughshod over you. That's all they're telling us.
I mean, where is the deception? For instance, if Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia says that, look, as far as the economic management team is concerned, they divided the responsibilities. For instance, the Bank of Ghana governor takes care of monetary aspect of our economy. The finance minister takes care of the fiscal aspect, whilst he takes care of the digitalization aspect or digitalized aspect of our economy. I mean, he says that's been his baby, and he has several examples of achievements he has been able to attain under that. Where lies the deception in all this?
Yeah, he actually told us in the same breath. You know, the conflict of interest is a crime, right?
Yes.
He says that he's proud of the quality of the advice he has given to President Akufo-Addo and to the government. He is happy to superintend on some processes within the government. He is very happy that they have achieved so much, but he is not responsible for the failures of the government.
You find it difficult to reconcile?
No, how do you reconcile these two statements? In one breath, in one presentation, in one statement. So you revisit the first time you heard about Mahmoud Bawumia, and you see the liar that he has always been. In fact, this is testament to the fact that he started on lies, he arrived on lies. He still believes that the lies will take him to the next level. Yes. That is why he continues to do it. Just take that 73 page of one of the most uninspiring statements we've ever read. Look at the picture of Dr. Bawumia, the vice president who was all over the place, completely disheveled, very poor presentation, almost as if he lacked confidence on that day, or he had lost all his confidence on that day, but trying very hard to speak for 3 hours. And who uses a teleprompter and makes it so obvious that you are being guided by a teleprompter? Tell us. We've seen Mr. Mahama use it many times.
Yeah.
We've seen Professor Nana Jane use it many times.
Yeah.
When have you ever seen? Jumping from one foot to the next. In his body language, he was flip-flopping. In his pronouncements, he was flip-flopping. In his outlook, he was flip-flopping. When you ask a psychologist to analyze that presentation for you, from the physical individual presenting to the verbal output to the body language. He never paused for 1 minute even to carry the crowd along with him. It was obvious that this is a man who has not grown, he hasn't developed, he hasn't learned anything. To be honest, he has even gotten worse at telling the lies.
Does it take away what his intentions or his real intentions are? Because it talks about his vision. I mean, how he would want to compact there's so many taxes and even cut off most of them. For instance, the emission, the electricity, the VAT on electricity and all that.
You know,
does all this analysis of his body language take away his vision?
You know, I've always known that Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, maybe from when he was a child, always imagined himself ruling Ghana, right? So for all his life, he lived as though a man who was just waiting to lead this country. I cannot describe Dr. Bawumia in similar terms. I don't even know what Dr. Bawumia actually stands for as a person. Because the very first time he burst onto the scene, what did we see him doing? A man who did not belong to a political party.
Yes.
Who did not believe in the traditions of the political party, but who saw it convenient that if I can become vice president, even though I don't belong to this political party, let me go and join this man. He did everything to shove him down the throats of his party council of elders. We all remember at the time, right?
Yes.
He started telling the lies right from there, right through. So this was a marriage largely of convenience. I must become president at all costs. I need just the right person to ride on my back to get there. He provided that avenue. On any platform that was given to him. What did he do? Look, he spent all his time trying very hard to be someone that he was not. Yes.
And what would that be?
You know, this was a man who was simply educated and tailored to work under somebody. You know, not everybody is cut out for leadership or a certain type of bold leadership.
Yeah.
Not everybody. You can tell from people sometimes that they operate better when they are under somebody. Look at it today. Without Akufo-Addo ahead of him or sitting down and leading him on. Look at the picture that our vice president. You know, it brought me to a point. Maybe we should look at a provision where if a vice president sitting wants to contest or run for president, maybe the person should resign and let someone else take it.
And why would that be?
So we don't have to force these divorces upon ourselves. This attempt to decouple himself from Akufo-Addo, this attempt to pretend that he has his own vision, that he is his own man, when he actually lacks no such attributes. None. You know, very churlish, very lackluster. You know, apart from picking up the document and reading on your own, Motu,
yes,
the presentation didn't inspire anybody. And to be honest, even in his own backyard. And you've seen the research from Imani. I've seen that one of his recent spokespersons,
Kofi
Bento,
yeah,
with Imani,
yeah,
after Dr. Bawumia's last presentation, the ratings, the data, leave enormous room for concern.
But Kofi insists that his vision is what we should be focusing on.
But Kofi told us also in the same breath that he shouldn't repeat any of the appointments of his boss. You understand? So is he going to come to TVXYZ or Power FM and come and take you and I to go and work for him? Who is he going to go for? No, tell me. Are these not the same list of people, Mr. Professor Jan Bafo, Alan Kojon Chairmantin, who said that? Osafo for oil.
What a solid team.
What a solid team.
Yeah.
No, please. Wake me up if I'm sleeping. Were we listening to Dr. Bawumia or somebody else? Or someone put the voice in his head? Or it was a recording? What was it? What was that all about? You see, look, sometimes there is something about African leaders. And this is a caution to anybody who aspires to lead in whatever capacity. Honesty can be alluring sometimes. There's something about honesty. Imagine one morning your leader stands up and boldly tells you, we had very good intentions. We planned to do it this way. We got swayed. The wrong people came into our fold and made it almost impossible for us to achieve what it is that we wanted to achieve. But going forward, we are going to change the cabinet. We're going to dismiss everybody and form a new cabinet. Some cabinets did it. Where they dissolve cabinet entirely.
Yeah.
And form the new government.
A new government, yeah.
You understand about it?
So that should have been Bawumia's approach.
That is not my advice. I mean, who am I to... What? We are even too small to prefer our views. Seriously. Who would come and ask you?
But are you suggesting that if he had done that, he would have caught the attention of Ghanaians?
Even if he wouldn't have, maybe a little bit of respectability would have been restored. The people will know that, okay, maybe he was lying for his boss to succeed. But now that his boss has failed, he wants to try and extricate himself. So he's trying to make amends for all their failures. Why? In all the time Dr. Bawumia has been vice president, my brother, has the stealing stopped? Has the thievery stopped? Has the corruption stopped?
But the buck stops with President Akufo-Addo.
Oh, why? Bawumia know the job.
But going into the elections,
I'm asking
there was
you.
Akufo-Addo's picture that was on the ballot paper.
I'm asking you. He's not eating.
Yeah, he is.
He's not drinking.
Yes.
His life hasn't improved.
Well,
his life hasn't changed. He's not using a motorcade. He's not using a convoy of vehicles provided by government. He's not living in a government accommodation. He's not part of the administration. All the ills that are there are because they are what? Being teleguided by Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo. How is that possible? We remember them telling us that what? He wasn't for e-levy.
Yes.
He wasn't for the IMF. But we also know how he sold the idea of PDS. Was he sleeping at the time? Was he dreaming at the time? What was he talking about? You know, look, Bawumia is a certified liar.
Power FM.
In public, in private, everybody knows that. The worst part is that he has been exposed. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia has now been caricatured in the history of this country as a liar. His legacy as a vice president will be a legacy of lies and inconsistencies, nothing more.
Hey, nature said you are the giant or no? Somewhere true for.
That is it. And it has been established everywhere.
So, does that make it hard? I mean, this legacy you speak of, does it make it hard for us to even consider his vision? Because he calls them bold ones, bold vision.
The man delivering the so-called bold statement looked very weak. See, if I walk into this room, you can see the way I walked in, very energized.
Absolutely, yeah.
You can tell that I exercised this morning for 2 hours. You can tell I haven't eaten TZ or heavy fufu.
Yeah.
Thank you. The man you saw, there was nothing bold though. Kota, 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 kota. In fact, that title cry, I felt bad for him because it didn't make sense to me even watching.
There's nothing bold in scrapping national service.
Oh, my brother.
And
I was educated outside of Ghana. When I arrived here, the first thing my parents told me was that you have to do your national service. It is something that every Ghanaian student does. So if you're back here, find a year and do it. I took a gap year. I went to Tamale. I went to teach at the Tishigu Anglican JSS. And then I went to Legal Aid Board.
Yes.
It was one of the best times of my life. And a few months ago, I met a lady. I didn't even know she was there with me at the time. Think about it. The aspect of military service. Look, we have foreigners who live here, whose children, when they attain the age for national service in their respective countries, as long as you want to continue being a national and using that passport, you must go back and do national service. And there is a good reason why we do national service. It is a period of preparation. What I actually was thinking was that if you look at the National Service Act, we should go back to making the military training in particular compulsory for our young people.
Why so?
Because you have people today, young boys and girls, who want to go and learn how to use a weapon.
Yeah.
You have young people today who want to go and learn how to do what? How to learn how to protect themselves.
Yeah.
If there's a kidnapping, if there's a hijacking, if there's a conflict somewhere, etc. It is something that also prepares you mentally.
Mentally, yeah. And discipline-wise, yeah.
A lot of people are very averse to exercise. If you go for that military training, exactly, you are using yourself as an example. So national service will be good for you. If you go and study abroad, you owe your state something. When you come back, you go and do your national service. In the past, each time ministers were being vetted. You were asked to profile what? Your national service certificate. There must be certain things that make us proudly Ghanaian.
No, but Bawumia is saying that we are dealing with a different economic situation going into 2025. So get the enterprises to go into the schools and then draw out the labor force.
For all the theory, for all the wishy-washy statements, for all the exhaustion that we saw in Dr. Bawumia, he has no ideas to give anybody. Jack.
No ideas.
Nothing.
Wow.
He is bereft of ideas. He just wanted to speak because he realized, immediately after he was made flag bearer, the first disappointment was the outcome. We were told that he would get about 80% of the vote. He garnered a little above 60%. That was a huge disappointment to him and his team. The next thing was to go out there and try to do his usual. To try and, dismiss President Mahama's proposal about the 24-hour.
Our economy, yeah.
It fell flat.
And he did same, at UPSA.
In fact, he only popularized it. And
he did?
Absolutely. What it tells you.
I thought he rather affirmed his position that it already exists.
Where does it exist?
Because he says you can lie in your bed in the night.
I even went to lie in my bed.
Buy power.
I was with a lady who traveled from Upper West Region with me.
Yes.
Why was she coming to Accra? She was coming here to come and renew her passport. I was in Canada with my brother when he was waiting for his passport, where 24 hours really works. The passport was delivered to his doorstep in good time for him to arrive in Ghana. So tell me, what is he talking about? In any case, that was a big fat lie. And that's when you see, have you heard anybody fact-checking Dr. Bawumia's uninspiring statement? The hopeless, useless statement that he delivered.
We've done a couple of them here.
Even, Charlie, completely visionless. The opposite of bold is what? Weak. The opposite of solid is what? Watery. You understand?
Yeah.
No lies, huh? They just have a way of making you look very, 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 very.
But most of his ideas are similar to that of President Mahama. For instance, the review of the Constitution. When he talks...
The man had even forgotten that the Constitutional Review Implementation Committee was actually set up by President Mahama. He had forgotten that. The man forgot also that all the changes and reforms to Ghana's passport regime as we have it today were implemented under Madam Hannah Tete as Foreign Minister. He had forgotten that as well. You see, there's a difference between good research and twisted research and research that is calculated to deceive. This was an attempt to try very, very hard to carry out a deception that fell flat because he himself was breathless.
Are you by this saying that if President Mahama talks about these ideas, we can trust him, but if Bawumia talks about them, we can't trust that he'll be able to implement them?
Why?
Is that what you're suggesting?
For all the effort that Mr. Mahama put in, what were we told? Even Professor Mills will describe Mr. Doolittle. You understand?
Yes.
So how will you describe Bawumia and Akufo-Addo? Hopeless. Useless. Because think about it. The things they are doing are the things that many others have done before.
Yeah.
But you see, it's the impudence they have. It's the arrogance and the complacency. That Mr. Akufo-Addo thinks that he can rule this country for 8 years and impose on us his choice of president so that he can continue to run Ghana through his weak vice president.
Oh, you see it as an imposition?
Oh, straight. Even within the MPP, that's how they see it.
Wow.
Yes. If they'll be honest, if they'll be sincere. Why is he trying so hard to decouple himself from Mr. Akufo-Addo? Why? He said that was his father. He was his mentor.
Yeah.
What has changed?
And he's grateful.
And he's so grateful. No. He is forever grateful and indebted to him for giving him this opportunity. We remember that speech. So where is the gratitude? Now turned to ingratitude. Where is the loyalty? Now turned to betrayal. Where is the love of that father and son relationship? Now because we want power, let me disown my father. Let me deny him 3 times so that Ghanaians will vote for me.
But the man in question is not upset. President Akufo-Addo is not upset.
His biggest aficionados are very upset. He himself wants to continue to rule in disguise. So even if he's upset, it's an impotent anger.
It's, what kind of anger is that? Impotent anger. Let's just say Bufua. Thank you. My goodness.
Near half and puff, keke.
Wow.
No matter what. You understand?
Yes.
Look, my brother. We were here. Have you ever heard the vice president come out to criticize anything?
Power FM.
Even the closure of the toll booths and how it was done. The mortgaging of ESLA. Did you hear him speak about it?
No, nothing.
The wasting of the Heritage Fund. Did you hear him talk about it?
Nothing.
The sinking fund.
Yeah.
The Ghana Infrastructure Fund. The energy sector levy. The GET Fund. The GET Fund in particular was serving largely deprived government institutions.
They don't talk about it because they say they rather came to meet ECA deficit.
Do you know any leader who arrived and didn't meet ECA in this country?
None.
Professor Mills even inherited single spine and he managed it right through. But after ECA, it has quadrupled from all the cars that we had to the point where today we can no longer even pay our international debts. Our pension funds are still there, we cannot pay. Even salaries for most institutions we cannot pay. People who have pensions now are worried about how to get the pensions back, about whether the pensions are even still available. The Bank of Ghana that he was praising, why do you think he opened his statements by praising the BOG? Go and check. Even the Bank of Ghana headquarters that they're putting up, my brother, was done through a restricted tender for $230 million and more. It is still rising. So who fact checks the ombudsman? Then you have a man who was formerly a deputy governor, who had the effrontery then in the disrespect to ask a certain vice president to answer 170 questions at a time when the dollar was 3.4 cedis. Today it is projecting to climb up to 13 cedis to $1. And he tells us that what? He's commending the Bank of Ghana for coming to the aid of the government. So the money genuine was not lost.
But the foundation for that statement was that we were in the era of COVID. Ghana's economy was pressed, just like it was in other parts of the world.
My brother,
that's the basis of his argument.
Did you see the news item from from Reuters yesterday? Even Ukraine in war, its economy is thriving. Russia in war, the economy is thriving. Many countries managed very, very impactfully during COVID. Have you heard that the water that they claimed they were giving for free? Chasing people for the money back. Did you hear the lady in Sanargo? The parliamentary candidate, Felicia Tete, claimed that she was given her share to go and run for the seat, and many others received similar amounts. Did you see how much money was wasted in Asin North? We had $12 million expended on Ajapa. Just take a list of all the corruption stories as against what went into COVID. We are still paying a COVID levy today. Where is that money going to? The hospitals, have you seen them? What interventions have you seen? Look at the monies that Frontiers Health received for a contract that nobody so far has seen the agreement. That even when they went to ask the airport company that was hosting Frontiers, they had no idea. How much they claim to the state. My brother.
So this is what you are coming to inherit.
This is.
I mean, should Ghanaians vote for you? Should Ghanaians vote for President Mahama? Convince us how President Mahama will handle this.
Let me tell you one thing. For a president who spends 17,000 euros per hour travel, not one day, not 1 month, that alone is a huge saving. You see, go to some of our rural capitals. Why did they promise to give every constituency $1 million? Why do you think that was? They knew people would run for it. Because people believe that that will actually engender what? Some improvement in the local economy and in their lifestyle. So what's it now? People believe that the assemblies will get, imagine, an assembly in a constituency getting $1 million per year. For the term of the president, 4 years, that is how much? $4 million per constituency. Yeah. And then you hear that for SML alone, $100 million is being paid out annually. We've heard rumors that the report by KPMG is very damning. It is very possible the government has the report and is sitting on it like they did with the Galamsey report from Frimpong Boateng, because the corruption, the stealing, it is actually armed robbery by people that we have elected into office. What is better than a modest human being coming at this time? What is better than an experienced individual coming at this time? What is better than a man who will not even go and carry a private jet coming at this time? Look, if we end the gravy train for the family and friends alone and take back all the unprocessed proceedings that they have and resources they have, that alone will be a huge impetus for recovery.
But you're a lawyer, you know you'd have to gather evidence, build your case, argue out in court.
You know,
I mean,
lately,
that's a process.
When I think about the Opuni trial, the NCA individuals, beyond the law that caught them and the sentencing they received, in one of the cases, you know the amount involved was $30,000.
Yes.
In another case, I think they said it was $50,000. Think about it. I said for Ajapa alone, it's $12 million. We have 16 regions. That amount could easily have gone round as they promised in 2016. Did they do that? They've stolen it.
But can it be recovered?
Of course, it must be recovered.
Must. But will it be recovered?
It ought to be recovered. And that is why it is imperative on all of us as a people to go out there and elect a new leader. Change is good. Change is important. Change will breathe in fresh air. Change will breed enthusiasm. Change also breeds hope. Above all, the change that I foresee will definitely reduce stealing and corruption and greed. Look, the level of greed amongst these people you've never seen before. My brother, why? I'm a former deputy minister.
Yeah.
If I'll be honest with you, my life as an international maritime lawyer in trade facilitation was a very good one. I traveled well. I traveled the world. I worked in the best places. I made good money. I never saw that kind of life as a deputy minister. In fact, that was the first shock when I arrived at the ministry. Why is it different now? It's the corruption. Look, this is a list of corruption stories that I asked my research people to send to me yesterday because I was coming here.
Yeah.
Just look at the quantums. Even youth employment. The European Union even at some point blacklisted us. Look at today, even the IMF said it, that but for corruption, mismanagement, and misrepresentation, Anka, I was saying my correct kakra.
That's right.
What you say? Free such is in Kenya, there, ube brese, ube via kama. What you say? Because we share the katudu omuya, omine basa. It's almost as if there's no regard. It's just some recklessness. And in all this recklessness, look, did you see yesterday President Akufo-Addo at Botema?
That's right.
I was wondering, is that his response to the corruption linked to AFCON? That what? He will host the best Accra games? You know, he didn't comment on the stories to do with GFA and the monies.
Would President Mahama have? I mean, if he was...
Let me tell you something.
If he was president.
This one, I don't have his permission to say it to my brother. Let me say, Dumso, if not for the way President Mahama became obsessed with finding a solution, he could have gone there and appointed a spokesperson for Dumso. Every day he'll be roaming, the person will be going around and telling you, just like
Meba.
Like Nana Bawumia is doing for us. Na probably also and then trouble I mean be chama. Ah bebo kama. And then me be chantrono I mean share white and blue. Ah bebo. I was even surprised say or see obey digital you man who sa large screens now. Omudi yellow. Thank you. What I say?
Yeah.
It is this caricature of deception that they are carrying out. Dodgy people have a way that they operate.
Yeah.
In the morning they wake up. Today, what is the mood of the country? Like when I saw those funny little clips coming out about Ghana Statistical Service, about ISER and some research about how many men are cheating, how many women. I said, this one. It's an old trick in the book. When things are tough, what sells? Sex.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So that's a confirmation.
Oh, yes, absolutely. That everything has failed. But their impudence, their arrogance, their lack of respect for the rule of law, and the fact that Nanado thinks that he owns Ghana and can dictate to Ghanaians, who leads them, is within itself an aberration we must correct. That no leader should see Ghana as their property. You enter, chop our money, nyafo, in the morning you come and look angry and tell us a whole lot of nonsense.
But in 2016, I realized one thing, that Ghanaians were visibly upset. But 2024, it's like we are indifferent about it.
Boss, Ghanaians know one thing, that this Kokromoti has power. And when you see the mood of the country, you can tell. People have moved on from them. I asked you a question. After that whole uninspiring presentation, when he finished all that, did you hear anybody telling you on any occasion that they believe what he said? Mr. Bawumia has no credibility left. He cannot be trusted. He should not be trusted. He has not given anybody any way of confirming to any individual that he is a man who even is a man of his word. And no such person should be given. He was stolen in through the back door into the MPP, right? And then after the second attempt, became a vice president.
But the legendary Kufuor, President Kufuor, I mean, posits that, look, he's the right man for the job, especially looking at the current situation in the country. We need a leader that is abreast with new technology, new trends, and Bawumia fits into such description.
When Mr. Akufo-Addo told us he was no economist, he said he needed a man who understood the economy, a man who could help him better manage the economy. So he went for Bawumia. He then wanted someone who would implement his policies for the economy, and went for the best investment banker. Thank you. How have they all fared in that triangle of theirs?
What can't more? So it's not about the know-how. Is that what you're saying?
It is about experience. It's about believability. It's about credibility. It's about your capacity to deliver what you promise to deliver on. It is also about the fact that you believe in what you are saying. Dr. Bawumia doesn't believe in anything he's saying. In fact, he doesn't care what he's saying. He just cares that he's telling you something that he thinks you just might believe. That's how he arrived on the scene. That is how he has. The minute he was made flag bearer, I told you guys that what shocked him when he went out there after the flag bearership contest was the fact that suddenly the microphones were not chasing him everywhere. You understand? The media wasn't hyping him anymore. Wow. He was shocked. Obi are now Peace FM, like you and I.
And that's a campaign.
He ran the whole flag bearership contest without granting one interview. That's the one should tell you the man has no credibility.
Wow.
That he's a liar.
BBC.
Of course. Ntrono.
What then is a Wambra Power FM?
Sharp. Uncle Umbra Power FM, because of Peace FM, they will even arrange the bed for him to see.
So what did BBC?
Umbra
Power FM.
Umbra Power FM.
Wow.
On media for on your media engagement. Let them interrogate the things he has put out. 73 pages is full of nothing but lies. What do I say? You know, look, what is sad? Napa we meet AGI.
Yeah. Association of Ghana Industries.
Concerns about exchange rates in terms of doing business and why it is making them totally uncompetitive on international markets. And the worry for the future, considering the prognosis that the dollar to the cedi will even go higher. And then you hear the Ghana Union of Trade Association that is supposedly part of this intersection of the AGI, Association of Ghana's Industries, telling us that what? That they are going to support Bawumia's position about the flat rate. Brother, if you look at the import duties, look at the number of agencies that take percentages, look at the number of taxes that are made. Until you've removed all of those things, how do you achieve a flat rate of tax? In any case, what I know from my expertise is that when it comes to calculating tax, every item is exigible to its own individual tax. It's not a blanket type of taxation. It is why even in this country, health inputs, for example, come at reduced tax or have a certain tax variation. When it comes to items to do with NGOs, for example, and also the good. Okay, I can doctors the whole import thing was different because the medical doctor importing a car, they are providing a very critical service and intervention to make life easy for them. What do I say? A matter of flat rate requires an overhaul of our tax system to incorporate and be sure that we unnecessary taxes now. And then you now have to put them in categories to arrive at this. So ask yourself, between the two gentlemen, Mr. Mahama tells us that our tax, be clear about our tax, here reform. Look, I said, Professor Mills, yes, that there was a certain holistic approach that should be done. And then we can have one paper that is all tax in Ghana.
No crap.
Business way, civil society, banking, finance, be separate. How to force and so a tax na me time na me private lawyer cry. Now to force a young tax na they be a me home up to date me books and getting on na me de con company or what I say. So at least he knows that we can consolidate some of our taxes, we can remove some of our taxes, that if agencies are making monies from other sources, then they ought not to be on that list of receiving taxes. Even for inspections, look at the cost of just going to inspect something for tax purposes. It is a whole logistical process. Exactly. What I say, we say, Ghana, we have enormous expertise. We can fact check. The AGIPA from industry, Ebekacha will say, exchange rate, a huge concern, a hard dream, a say businesses. Not Ghana Union of Trade, offshoot of AGI. No. Politics no more. Okay. Even in 2016, when we checked the positions of Ghana Union of Trade Associations, what was their position then? The associations to be show you now got some money on the book campaign. The two amoka DG norma the money to clear money taxes. May say there is even a big corruption scandal brewing.
And also free.
I'm call to go and clear cargo.
Wow.
Yes. What do I say? Friends and aficionados and family and your man. What do I say? Look at.
But as I will boss you, obi message. Grace Afia, you say, is it not the case? And I'm say, Omon Kama NDC Intina, Odrin say, almost all your politics.
Because
now you are TUC, the argument say, now you are TUC, so make say 24-hour economy, a game changer, and on their politics.
But TUC put us to strict proof. Say, Omo expertise. This idea, ye per se, ye implement it, sir, game changer year. Then we should come to them further and better particulars.
Okay.
And it was a position Mr. Mahama agreed to.
But when there, kind of straightforward.
And I may say, when you can idea, I will be say, oh, I share proposal we. Inti ebe share say, be say. Inti madam, also on say, almost say, they are going with
Power.
what I say.
And no endorsement.
Exactly. Inti obi abema 73 pages. Na wa tamade ba ko penti guta 4% omo che say. Omo business omo yenu wo Ghana nyina 15% domestic on electricity no muntuabi. E-levy no muntuabi. Pensions no mu bi nka ho. Indebtedness, colossal indebtedness is not affecting them. Exchange rates where they are today is not affecting them. Now they don't know when we're locking the shops around because foreign traders were coming to benefit. There's a complaint today even about ship owners in particular who are now setting up logistics companies. So they're doing port to port, now they're doing door to door locally. And people are complaining because it is also affecting local industries and local logistics companies. Why are they not talking about that? Why are people leaving our port and going to Togo, which is a free port? Remember that this was a free port issue. It was even mooted here in Ghana under Professor Mills.
Yeah.
I was part of that working committee that examined that whole concept of a free port. So, why the import duties that they are paying for clearing containers? We haven't heard it. You see, let's put all these matters to strict proof. You know, I am a lawyer. I like to question things.
Yes.
I like to examine things. I like to analyze things. And I think I have a mind that actually is reasonable enough to think about things logically. A man who said to you that they will give you $1 million per constituency, that 7 years later hasn't even given you 50. A man who said they will give you 1 dam per district, and 7 years later they haven't given it to you. A man who said that they will make Ghana the cleanest city
In Africa.
and has failed to do that. A man who said he was going to fight corruption with the ANAS principle.
Yeah.
And he has been unable to do that. A man who said that soul sourcing would be a thing of the past until submission and has been unable to deliver. A man who told you that we don't eat roads and today they come to argue with you about roads. A man who said that he was a purveyor, a believer in the rule of law, and today clears corrupt officials and writes love letters to ministers with stolen resources under their beds. A man who told us in the swearing in of the Honorable Martin Amidu that this was the best way to fight corruption. How did that man leave office? It was in the course of Ajapa and an opinion on Ajapa from Madame Gloria Kufu, one of the biggest aficionados of Akufo-Addo's dreams and ambitions. Even she was sacrificed on the back of Ajapa. We find out that $12 million was at stake. PDS, how did it end up? Have we received our monies from them yet? And you want such a government, such a man, to foist the mouthpiece that told all the lies. And you know, musicians, music
remix and
they be musicians, backup dancers.
Okay, good video vixen.
Just to make the video exciting.
Yeah.
That was Bawumia. To Akufo-Addo.
It moves no. You call elections. You didn't come easy. Moves no.
Ghana for Ejia to Muse. Obi o chantro true for there. You can't trust his word. Even the Bible tells you. The Quran tells you the same thing. A man who has no credibility, a man whose inconsistencies are such a public record that you don't even, in fact, ABF semi pussy, well, see, the man has died in the marketplace. See, where the announcement behind him, what you say? Me say, John Mahama has his pulse on what we need at this time. Now, we should see me a disunity in Ukraine, the overly partisan environment. The body language is very acrimonious. enye conciliatory crowd. Musi GFA for your budget say. I don't give a toss. What you say? This is how I intend to do. In found. What you say? Now finish running mate. The vice president so I be catch say no so on found. Ntroya na me de mam. Who kai so mo di bibi ko jina anti muni watch and them may so rest in peace. And no akosi say.
What the news we are best see President Akufo-Addo ayen sakramu why reshuffle ewo na ba mo finance that's so you can oforiata.
Thank you. Kobo me video from last week.
So what can say once this ano?
Me catch also you can oforiata. It's an endorsement of Bawumia.
Do we you know
Bawumia see ken inti na want me ambo ejuma. Inti me Akufo-Addo me yikenda.
Ye bredi kansa babu boni nya but why changes ahodo.
Too little too late.
Necessary.
Na if man go if man come bere.
Wow.
Ombe jai soul source. Ombe ji PDS sikana mai. Ombe ji ajapa sikana mai. Ombe ji sidapa sikana mai. Then ombe.
Interesting. Honorable, you see your brand anya your bread. You better answer so. And they will brown your mind and no pay.
And your brother Chumbuafo, the papa, Mr. Chumbuafo Senior, we say we did 90.
Oh wow.
Nti danyamiase. Yeah, man, happy birthday so sa. Nti.
I get why you were saying say omo would do birthday so. 90. Wow,
good old age. Very good age nti danyamiase.
Thank you for watching. Really appreciate your time. Please, if you have not yet subscribed to the channel, please do so for us. Hit the notification bell for more updates. Like and also share for other new members to watch as well. Thank you.
Dedi kama mamena PENDREAM TV ase. Na so far so good. Say open online portal e wo Ghana. Nipa share, nipa follow, nipa comment here. To my best of knowledge, without any biases, PENDREAM TV.